Black Twitter is essentially a cultural identity that has taken root within the social media website Twitter. Twitter's nature as a medium for quick, concise discourse lends itself to being used as a tool to publicize meaningful perspectives from anywhere and everywhere. Twitter is incredibly popular. In fact, it has over 330 million monthly active users, and 16% of all people with internet access use Twitter. Wikipedia defines Twitter as an online news and social networking service where users post and interact with messages called tweets. According to data collected by the Pew Research Center, Twitter is especially appealing to African Americans and urban residents. Black Americans comprise over 25% of Twitter's entire user base, despite being only about 14% of the United States population. Feminista Jones speaks about Twitter's unique connection to Black American culture, presenting it as a sort of legacy to the alternative communication styles that Black Americans have needed to use since the days of slavery. She writes, African American culture has historically relied on alternative communication styles and underground means to connect and build networks. Centuries ago, newly captured African slaves were separated from those who spoke their native languages to discourage organized attempts at escape. For them, finding universal means of communication, like spirituals or work songs, became essential to their survival and that of future generations. We have often used grassroots communication to organize and mobilize efforts to achieve freedom and equality. Early hip-hop music often contained linguistically coded messages of empowerment, hope, and progress, while also painting realistic pictures of poverty, crime, and racism in inner cities. The Ebonics debate was arguably rooted in the fears held by those who did not understand and could not speak African American vernacular English, and as such, felt threatened by the use of the language in classrooms and in the workplace. What Jones speaks about there is embedded very deep within American culture because it's embedded deep within our media standards. There's a reason we don't see or hear many different cultures in our mass media, despite the melting pot imagery our nation heralds as a calling card. It's not because some cultures are better or more presentable than others, it's because the few who control the messengers perpetuate assimilation so that their products reach the widest audience possible. Basically, Twitter has superseded that and became a megaphone to a group of people who have historically gone unheard. When George Zimmerman was acquitted for the murder of Trayvon Martin, Twitter exploded. The popular discourse evolved from grief and rage over Trayvon's death to grief and rage over what many people view as a failure of the justice system. If you were among the hundreds of millions of people who used Twitter, it would have been impossible to hide from the wave of outrage directed squarely at the government of Florida. There were no pundits getting in the way of information and no corporations skewing the messages with ulterior motives, on Twitter at least. Any perspective or opinion regarding the matter that you wanted to express, you would need to use your very own voice to do so. With nothing to hide behind, your words carry more weight.